Hey everyone, my name is Barka Herman, and I am going to talk today about a question I've been asking a lot of women in technology, my colleagues really. So I work for Microsoft, so I have a good group of female technologists that I have access to. I also run a meetup group locally, and I have a friend circle that is very wide. And I'm not going to share any names, but the question that I asked a lot of these women was, what is your number one challenge as a woman in technology, right? And the answers were very surprising to me. Now, this is often the case that, one person's struggles is not everybody's struggles. However, what was interesting to me was that I asked this question in a specific forum, and one of the women shared very vulnerably, and then a lot of others actually chimed in and agreed. So clearly, this is a problem, and it is a pervasive problem. And I just want to share with you, and I'd love to hear your opinions. And I also have some opinions, but I'd love to hear your opinions on it. So the question was, what is the biggest challenge, one, two, or three most challenging things that you're facing as a woman in technology? And one of the things that came up, and there were several, and I'll do other videos on them, but one of the things that came up was this topic of gossiping. So the issue here is that what happens is that as women in technology, we're kind of like out to do our work, focus on being good or whatever we think is important. And so we're creating. And in a lot of cases, what ends up happening is a lot of people are not comfortable enough, or for whatever reason, I'm not going to guess their reasons, they won't come up to us and talk to us about problems that they're having. Instead, they'll go around us and say negative things about us. So this is what I mean by gossiping. I personally am not a big fan of gossiping, and I'll even admit that I probably don't even notice it because it's not something I care about. Eleanor Roosevelt said this, right? There are the type of people, there are three types of conversations. One is about ideas, the other is about events, and the third is about people. And if you know me, if you've been in conversations with me, you'll notice that if you start talking about people, I kind of phase out. My mind wanders. I'm not interested in that much. So it's not something that is big on my radar. Now, I have friends who do this all the time, right? And they talk, that's all they talk about. This person did that, and that person did that, and this person. Now, I know these people very closely, very well, and they're amazing human beings. They're not bad people, right? But they're very people focused. And so their entire, like, these are the people that would notice if somebody's depressed. These are the people that would notice if somebody is having, issues in life. I wouldn't unless you told me, right? So there is a place for these people in society. They're amazing people, super caring, loving, supporting people, right? So there's nothing wrong with being people focused. I just am not that person, which I know. I know my strengths, and I do know my weaknesses at all. How does this translate to women who feel like they're being gossiped about, and inevitably the gossip tends to be negative, and it's really not helping their careers, right? And so I was very surprised by it, first of all, because I'm kind of clueless about this. Mea culpa. But the second part of it is, what do you do about it? So I'm going to ask this question. First of all, have you experienced this? The second question is, if you've experienced it, have you done something that worked? And I'd love to hear that because, again, this is a channel for supporting other people in this kind of situation. So if you share that would be great. And I'll tell you what I would do in this situation. If this happened around me, I found out that, hey, and it could very well happen with me because I live in my clueless world, focusing on the things that I focus on and kind of like everything else disappearing, allowing everything else to disappear. If I noticed this, it would be a call to action to get to know my team better, right? To relate to them better. So I would make an effort to start connecting more with the people in my team. And the way I would do it is, start at the edges, know their families, know what matters to them at work and outside of work, right? So I am the worst speller in the world, and I work with people who are very particular about spelling, and I know that every time I make an error, it just irks them to the end, and I get it. I'm still excellent at coding, but I spell badly. And I know this, but if I'm working with somebody whose big focus is on one thing and I just give them some, attention, I know that they'll see it. They'll notice that. I wouldn't notice it if you spelled badly or properly around me. It's not even on my radar, but it is on their radar. So learning to know what matters to people really helps create relationship. So I would look at it as a call to action. I would do something about it. I would get to know people. I would not get defensive and bring it to the manager and make a big thing about it. Now, it depends on how bad it is, of course. If it is bad, of course, you need to go to HR, take care of things. But if you're noticing this pattern that you're feeling isolated and people are talking around you, well, what I would do is I would focus on what can I fix, right? Not how I can fix them, but what can I fix? And my fix would be to get to know people a little better, pay attention to them a little more, and make them comfortable enough to where, they could come to me and say, Barka, you suck. You made this huge mistake, or this pattern in you is just not working for me. And that's what I want. I want that level of comfort from people that I work with so that they can just come over and say, look, this is something that you need to change. Because personally, I don't take cues. If you tell me something, I'll make an attempt. Or I might say, look, I'm not going to do anything about it. That's the way I do it. That's fine, but I still want my team to be able to walk up to me and say, you need to fix this, because that's the relationship I want with my team. By the same token, I want to be able to do the same for the team as well. So if I am seeing people gossiping, I will ask them about it, saying, how about, bring it to the source, bring it to the person that you have a problem with. That's the right thing to do in a situation. And you don't have to be nasty about it. You can bring it in a nice way, but if it's a problem and if you notice it and they're not noticing it, maybe their focus is not on that, right? They're focused on something completely different and only you can fix it. So anyway, that's my idea. I'd love to hear what you think. Again, I would love to hear if you notice this in your work environment. And if you have any tips or tricks, some tools to fix it. And the third thing is, what do you think of my solution? Do you agree, disagree? Please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.